All right, cool. Well, thank you so much. I'm Nitin Manchanda, Global Head of SEO at Trivago and founder of SEOsurgeon.in. Well, before I start, I would like to thank Global Digital Marketing Summit team for this wonderful opportunity to share the e-stage with some of the great SEO experts from all over the world and to share my findings. So today I'll be talking about SEO myths and some interesting tips to increase your organic visibility. Well, SEO is something that is very, very close to my heart, and I have an experience of 5.5 years. I started my career as software developer with Flipkart. That was in 2012, and I'm working with Trivago these days. And my currently my role is a global head of SEO. So I'll be talking about technical SEO myths. And so I have covered a lot of things. So there are some things which are very, very basic for you. So please bear with me because I wanted to target all the audience from beginners to experts. So I would be covering a lot of things which might be basic for you, but I just wanted to touch upon them because these are things which are like always hot topics. So, yeah. So, before I start, I just wanted to share this disclaimer that everything is based on my previous experience or case studies done by myself or experts that I follow. So, if you have different thoughts on anything I'm presenting today, I'll be more than happy to discuss after the session. So, feel free to reach me at Twitter or LinkedIn. And I just wanted to give this disclaimer because SEO is ever-changing world, and there are some things which were different, or probably I might have experienced a different thing than you. But I'm happy to discuss with you and happy to learn new thing if there is any. All right. So starting with the very first point, which is a lot of people say SEO is one-time effort. So when I mean, I have a few clients, and whenever I talk to someone, they say, "Okay, we want to fully optimize our website. How much time will it take to optimize our website fully, for completely for search engines?" Well, the answer is no. You cannot, optimize your website completely for search engines because that's not possible. And the reason is, well, as they say, SEO is a marathon and not a sprint. So that's true. I mean, you cannot say your website is completely optimized for search engine because that is something. So there is another saying which says that success is a journey, not a destination. So the same way, SEO is a journey, not a destination. You cannot say you have completely optimized your website for search engines. That can never be the stage because SEO and user experience, they work hand in hand. They go hand in hand. And when you talk about user experience, you can never say your website is completely user experience friendly now, because that can never be the case, because there is always the scope to improve your website from search engine perspective and from user experience perspective. Moving to the second point, which is a lot of people say that CTR has no relation with search rankings. It's been a very, very hot topic, like since I think last 2 years or something. And a lot of people very often argue about this, that if you're working on structured data, that's of no use. If you're spending time on meta title, meta description, that's of no use. Don't do that. Don't waste time on that. But there are a lot of studies on this. So one of the studies was done by my one of my favorites, Larry Kim from WordStream, and where he, along with his team, found this really, really interesting graph where they're talking about head term versus long term keywords, and they've shared the correlation between CTR and organic search position. So if you see here, let's talk about head terms. So if you have somewhere around 18% of CTR, then you're ranking at number one. And then if you go down, and so you can see that the links on number 10, on 10th position, have CTR of 1% approximately. So that's the key. I mean, CTR is very, very important, and not just CTR. There's a thing called dwell time that is also very important. So that gives a signal to Googlebot that these pages are really important, and it's not about just the CTR. So Rand Fishkin mentioned in one of the conferences recently, and in fact last year as well, that it's not about CTR only. So CTR is like when you get a user to your website, and then it's your responsibility to serve a better experience so that user spends a lot of time on your website and doesn't go back to search engine and clicks another link, because that is called short click versus long click. So if you're getting a user to your website and serving a good experience, and user is spending more time and not going back to search engine, then that's the best experience. All right, moving to the next point, the third myth, which is meta tags aren't important from SEO perspective anymore. Well, here I'm talking, so we have a lot of meta tags, a lot of them, but here I'm talking about just three of them, three most important ones: meta title, meta description, and meta keywords. So meta keywords is not important because a couple of years back, Google openly mentioned that they are not taking care, they won't be considering meta keywords tag at all. So I would suggest you to not spend any effort or time on that, and you can simply ignore meta keywords. And let's talk about meta title and meta description now. So meta title, well, there are a lot of studies on that as well. So apparently meta title adds value to your SEO for sure. So make sure that you have your primary keyword and meta title, and meta title, and now description. Description, they say, doesn't add any value for SEO. Well, I would say meta description doesn't add any value for SEO directly, but indirectly it does. So meta description is something that you write to increase your CTR. So when you write something in your description and you're kind of pushing user to click on your link, and then user is on your site, and then you're serving better experience, and then user is converting, or maybe not going back to search engine, and so that's a good signal to Google. So this way, meta description is indirectly very important, and meta title also does the same. So meta title adds direct value to SEO, and it also adds indirect value to SEO, because meta title is another place that users see when they search something on Google. So when you're giving a nice message there and pushing your user to click on your link, so you can influence your CTR uh, through meta title and description. So I would definitely emphasize on this point that you should focus on the title and description from better user, not user experience, but CTR perspective. So make sure that that is there in your list and you're not ignoring that. Okay, moving to the fourth point. So a lot of people say linking from header or footer has the maximum value. Even I used to say the same thing, exactly the same statement, but that was like 2 years back. And even when I started with Flipkart, so there were so I was working on a project, and then we linked these pages from the footer, and within 4 hours we could see them ranking very high in the search. So, but these things doesn't work anymore, or maybe they work, but gradually you'll see them, fading from the algorithm. So here the point is, so now whenever they say that, if you have an important link, you can just link them, these links from the header or footer. But I would suggest you to spend, you know, some time on your strategy and make sure that all your links are strategically placed and not linked from header or footer, because header or footer are sometimes not the best places to put your links. For example, if you're Flipkart and you're talking about Puma shoes and you're linking this particular link from the footer, well, that's not the place, because Flipkart is not about Puma shoes only. Flipkart is about online shopping. And but if you have a page which talks about shoes, or maybe which talks about footwear in general, and there you're linking this particular page, I think that's better than linking this particular link from the home page, because that if you're linking it from the shoes page, that is more relevant, and relevance is very very important. So make sure you do that. And if you're linking from within the content, for example, again in this case, like if you're on shoes page and there you have some description about that page, and there from within the description you're talking about Puma shoes, and there you're linking Puma shoes page, I think that's the best place for it than footer or header. Okay, so moving to the fifth point, which is linking the same page multiple times add more SEO value to it. Well, that's completely wrong. A lot of people. So recently, I was working with a client. They had 3 or 4 links to the same page from their home page, and I was like, remove all of them. And they were like, no, but they add a lot of SEO value, don't they? And my answer was no, they do not, because Well, it's actually not true, because when you're linking a page multiple times uh, from your page, Google or any other search engine for that matter, they just consider the first link, and they just simply ignore all other links. So make sure your page is linked only once on from a given page. So if you're linking it multiple times, that's wastage of your uh, link juice, because if you have, for example, 10 links on your page, so every link is getting 1 by 10th of your link juice. But then if Google is ignoring, for example, uh, so for example, if you have 5 links to a page, Google is ignoring four of them and just considering the first one. So you're wasting 1 by 10 into 4, which is 4 by 10, 40% of the link juice for that page. So make sure you're not doing this mistake, and every other page is linked only once from a page. All right. So the next myth is XML sitemap is a ranking signal. Well, that's not true. So a lot of SEO experts, well, they ask you that, hey, you should have your XML sitemap on your website. That's a ranking signal. You can't miss that. I would agree on that. On you can't miss that, but that's not a ranking signal. So XML sitemap is basically a way to tell search engines that these are the pages that you have on your website, and that way you can tell them to crawl these pages. So of course, I mean, you can rely on search engines to find content on your website, but XML sitemap is a way to tell them clearly upfront that hey, these are the links that we have on our website. So even if you're not able to find some of these links, if you have, for example, some orphan pages, which is not the best case, of course, but even if you have some orphan pages, so this is the way to tell search engine that hey, these are the pages that I have on my website, so please take a look at them, crawl them, and index them, and then search engines will do the rest. All right, so moving to the next myth, which is let search engines find your new content and indexes. So, which is very much related to XML sitemaps, at the point I mentioned there. So here I'm talking about, so in a lot of cases, so you just say that okay, I don't need any XML sitemap, I don't need any HTML sitemap, I do not need anything. So if I have a content, I have something on my website, so search engines are smart enough to find that content, crawl it, and index it. Well, you are absolutely right here. But if you help them find your pages, that'll help you, you know, gain some more organic traffic. Now, how? I'll tell you that. So, for example, if you release a page today, and this page is in your hierarchy, this is like third level or fourth level on your in your website, then maybe so search engines, for example, let's talk about Google. So maybe Google takes 3 days, 4 days, or maybe 2 days, or maybe 5 hours to find that page and then crawl it and then index it. But then if you add this particular link in your XML sitemap or somehow submit this URL to Google directly, the moment you publish that page, that way Google can immediately crawl that page and index it. So you can save that 5 hours or 1 day or 2 days or whatever time Google takes to find these pages automatically. So you can save that time and make sure that you are there in search engines. At least Google is able to see that page and evaluate whether you're serving good user experience from that page and whether that page makes sense to be there in search engines. So you can save that time basically. All right, so moving to the next point, which is one of my favorites for 2018. Well, that's there in my list for 2018 at the top. So the point here, a lot of people say that social signals doesn't add any SEO value. Well, I would actually agree on this that they do not add any SEO value, but they do not add any SEO value directly, and indirectly they do. Well, if you talk about all these search engines, so a lot of people, so like in the previous presentation, Pradeep Chopra mentioned about the power of social media, and a lot of people, a lot of companies, a lot of players are investing in social media because they actually add a lot of value for better user experience, and better user experience go hand in hand with SEO. So that is one thing. And another thing is when you share something on, for example, Facebook. and the people like your article. When they click on it, they read it, and when they like it, so probably when they're writing their own blog, they link you from there because they like this article, and they think that if people are searching for something, for example, I work for Trivago, and if you're targeting about top destinations in Europe for this summer, for example. So, and we have an article about this, which is on social. And if someone, a blogger, reads this article and likes it, then probably when this blogger is writing about top European destinations in summer, and probably this person links Trivago's article link there, then we get organic linking, which is very important from SEO perspective. I'm talking about just one blogger here, one blogger and one article. So there are thousands, millions of bloggers who are reading all these articles and stuff, and there are millions of articles that are live there. So now imagine if all of these articles are getting a lot of organic share, and you know the share and linking, that's very very important. So social is super super important and very very powerful, so I would definitely recommend you to keep this in your list, like it's there in my list as well. Okay, so moving to the next point, which is paid. A lot of people say paid search has direct ranking correlation with organic. Well, when I started my career as a software engineer and I was working in SEO team, so that time I was hearing the same thing that if you're investing more on paid search, then it has a direct correlation with organic. And I was always hearing this. A lot of people were like, you need to increase your paid traffic, paid search, and then you'll see the impact on organic because it has direct relation. Because a lot of things, right? So let's not go there. But I would say that it doesn't have any direct relation. It doesn't have any direction. There are a lot of case studies around this, and this is proven that it doesn't have any direct relation. But it has indirect relation. For example, if today I'm looking for iPhone X, or let's take another example. For example, if I'm looking for uh, mobile phone cover for my iPhone X, and I'm searching on Google that mobile phone cover for iPhone X, and I don't know, I don't have any preferred brand. Then, and if I see Flipkart on the top and Amazon on rank two on the paid uh, results, but I'm not sure about these two brands. So I have no idea. Or let's talk about abc.com at rank one and XYZ on rank two. So I don't have any preference on these two for any of these brands. So probably I'll just ignore it and I'll search something else. But next time when I search something and I see abc.com in organic, then that particular brand abc.com is somewhere in my head that I've seen this brand abc.com sometime in my life, and it is stuck in back of my head. So I would tend to click on that because I'm familiar with that brand name. So it gives you brand marketing or brand awareness. And when next time someone searches for something and sees the same brand, so that brand is somewhere in the head of that person, and that person tends to click on your link than some other link. So that's a beauty of paid search, and that's the correlation of paid search and organic, which is of course not direct, but indirectly it definitely impacts. All right, so moving to the 10th and the final myth I want to share with you all today. So, which is header tags aren't important from SEO perspective anymore. So, header tags, when I talk about header tags, I'm talking about H1, H2, H3, and so on. So, they say Google is very smart now, and their algorithm just ignores these minor things which are header tags and stuff. So, I have 2 points here. First, so again, there was a study around this where they checked about H1 tag, that if Google consider H1 tag as one of the ranking signal, so the results were positive, which means that if you have your primary keyword in H1 tag, considering that you're not harming user experience, then it definitely adds value. Second point, so these tags are very important from user experience perspective. So for example, if you are writing an article and you have a proper heading and subheading and so on, that gives a better user experience. So user when reading can easily understand, okay, this is the main topic and this is what I'm reading. And then subtopics gives an idea to user that what exactly they're reading about within this topic. So header tags are essentially important from user experience perspective, and user experience is the most important thing from SEO perspective. So there was a saying that content is the king sometime back from SEO perspective, but now that saying is completely changed because now they say that user experience is the king, and it is actually the king because if you're able to serve better user experience, then that's the best thing from SEO perspective.
So thank you, sir. Thank you for your wonderful presence.